Welcome everyone to the 160th edition of the Nuthouse podcast brought to me by boxofsalem.com. I'm your host Andy Patterson. With me tonight I've got Adam Smith playing NBA in the background there I think. Steve Wellens, Dave the Hater and Alex Morris. Just a wee thought out, pray for Paul, press pass Paul. I think he's bailed on us. Not going to Frampton quick fight anymore, so it's another one falling by the wayside. But anyways, last night saw Danny Garcia become victorious over Robert Guerrero by unanimous decision with scores of 116-112 across all three scorecards and picking up a vacant WBC belt in the process. Now, some people watching last night were actually left with some questions about Garcia, and the obvious one is he an elite fighter, especially at 147? Which we'll probably touch upon. Guerrero, as usual, he gave it everything. He was getting some punches home, especially early doors. But I think by the midway point, Garcia perhaps really figured him out. And but probably back to the question of Garcia, and I can understand why people are asking it. I just think you're looking at a fighter here who really doesn't do anything spectacular. He's probably, you've got a solid pro who probably works with what he's got. His best attributes would probably be his jab when he wants to use it. Usually it's pretty solid. He's got a good left hook, obviously. He can deliver a good, decent counter punch when he's got to, and if he's forced to fight, he'll do it. And he does carry decent power. So, what does he do? What's he got to do? He does enough, I suppose, in the ring just to pick up the rounds. But he has been extremely fortunate to remain undefeated up to this point. Everyone knows that. It's not even up for debate. He is beatable, and he's certainly been beat by Herrera, in my personal opinion, and it's probably a razor close loss to Lamont Peterson. Now, on his power actually last night, he did buzz Guerrero a few times, but we all know that he's made of nails really, and he did finish the fight quite strongly. So he's certainly going to be back in the ring again at some point, especially if he's getting paid over $1 million paydays and stuff. But Dave the Hater, this is your first time on the show for a few weeks, mate. Give me a take on Garcia against Guerrero.
Yeah, I've been away with the lack of much boxing action to watch, but I'm back and focused on the sport again, as such as it is. It was uh, the fight was mildly competitive, better than a lot of people predicted it to be. I think a lot of the prevailing prediction was Garcia by KO around 8, 10, whatever. But Guerrero actually was winning the fight with his pressure for the first 5 rounds, roughly. I only gave Garcia one, but then Garcia had a very big sixth, unloaded power hooks, staggered Guerrero, and from there on out, it seemed like a momentum change, and Guerrero just wasn't getting off as well. Garcia would get off a little bit more. Still underwhelmed by Garcia, generally speaking, as I have been in every performance since the Matisse fight. Obviously, he looked fine in the Rod Salka fight, but we're all extremely underwhelmed by that opponent choice. So yeah, Garcia probably deserved those scores. I've got no problem with the scores. It was a close fight, though, close rounds, some of them, and it doesn't look to me like Garcia is a top 147 pounder at all. I think Keith Thurman has a style to destroy him. I'd pick Keith Thurman to beat Garcia a lot more confidently than I would pick Thurman to beat Sean Porter in April or March or whenever it is.
If that fight ever gets made. So Dave's on the point that Garcia's no elite. What about yourself, Steve? Is he an elite fighter? I mean, I would say he's a top fighter, but I wouldn't say that he is elite. I think he's no limited to one thing. I think as I say, he's got probably solid fundamentals. I just don't think he does anything spectacular.
Yeah, he's a very solid guy. Elite, no, I can't see him as elite. Potential elite at one point he could have got there, but with the level of opposition, the way he's been going, I don't think so. I don't think he has the versatility in his game, and I just call him 6 out of 10 Garcia, like we were saying on Twitter earlier. He's just decent, just an ordinary guy. He wins some, he loses some, he gets the decision either way. I'm just not really that impressed with him. And against the Robert Guerrero, we said this before, and in the preview, Guerrero has balls to spare, but he was just eating those right hooks at the end as the fight progressed, too much for my liking. And I mean, they're talking about maybe is Khan mandatory for the WBC now, is he, or something?
Apparently now, yeah, mate, yeah.
I
Yes,
mean, he needs to fight in March at least, and then we all know about Khan. He needs to fight Brook or Garcia, and To be honest with you, if Khan can sharpen the tools and then he takes a Garcia rematch, I just expect him to finish the job that he was starting the first time before he got knocked out, to be honest, because Garcia, he's got the good left hook, he's pretty solid, but he just does enough, and Khan's speed, I think, give him all sorts of problems. And at the end of the fight, it just annoyed me because everything looks so staged. I mean, and there was no bad blood, which was good, but everyone just seemed a bit too happy. The trainers were making up, everyone was hugging and handshaking, and basically just saying, we all got paid, nobody got hurt. The PBC Ponzi scheme rolls on. And I was just uncomfortable with the fight for so many reasons, and it just played out pretty much the way I thought it was. I did think Garcia might put the foot down towards the end and try and get Guerrero out of there, but Guerrero's just too brave for his own good. People are talking about a rematch with Aaron Martinez and maybe being a potential opponent for, I don't know, Khan, whoever in the future. I mean, Guerrero, they're talking 6-time world champion. He's just a moving punch bag these days. He's too high in weight, and he's just going to take beatings. Is that the career he wants? He's going to pay for this, I think, 20, 30 years down the road. He must have made good money. He's had the Floyd fight. He'll have a few pound in the bank, a few dollars in the bank. He doesn't need to take these beatings, man. Come on, his dad needs to say, Robert, you've had a good career. Let's just jack it in now. As for Garcia, I mean, the cat was out the bag, wasn't it, with his father beforehand? They just want to pick up a few more paydays, and whether they fight the winner of Porter and Porter and Thurman, sorry. Perhaps Guerrero might be fed to Spence. Like I said, the PBC Ponzi scheme rolls on.
The way his dad's talking, actually, I really don't know if they're really all that bothered about a Khan rematch. I mean, the belt to them means nothing. I mean, I think they've dumped the belt. I mean, you're getting paid, what, $1.5 million last night for that fight? I mean,
why not take a Salka, as he said?
Yeah, true. I mean, the only way he's going to dodge this Khan fight is if he goes for a unification, which with this tournament they've got going on just now, I don't know if it's feasible or no. So does he vacate the belt? Khan then fight Sammy Vasquez or whoever it is for the vacant title? Khan's fucking running out of options. He's shit out of options if this doesn't make his Brook fight by the end of this year, because I think there's a window in this fight now, Alex. It's going to happen between the next 12 months. And can you see Khan facing off against Garcia?
Well, you'd think that Khan's got two options really at the moment. I mean, he's always had these aspirations of trying to fight Floyd and Pacquiao, and they've never really materialized. And now he's left with, fortunately for him, I mean, he could have been left out with up shit creek apart from Brook, but he's got Brook and he's got Garcia available to him. I think that we'll probably end up talking about the Brook Khan fight later, but in terms of Garcia, I would think that would be the fight that he should take next, simply because it will give him that extra leverage, put him as a, at the moment, the only thing that Brook's got holds over Khan is that Khan's inactive and Khan doesn't have any sort of belt. And I think that with this leverage of, possibly beating Garcia, I mean, that's definitely not a given, considering obviously what happened in their first fight. But I think having that win and just being a bit more relevant and a bit more active, I think it really improves his standings for what is obviously the bigger fight of the two, which is Khan versus Brook. Whether or not they'll take it is another matter. I mean, I've heard reports that Garcia's turned down the fight many times. I've heard people say that Khan's turned down the rematch several times, and it depends who you ask and where you read your reports, I guess. As for Garcia, just thinking about him, and it really sort of makes me reassess everything I thought about certain boxers and certain hype that I've placed on certain fighters. I mean, Garcia, the only two fights he's really looked any good and any spectacular is obviously the Morales fights, where Morales was absolutely shot. And
still find time to clown him in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, Morales still had enough sort of old wily new and technical know-how to in the first fight at least to really give him a bit of thinking time. The second one he just sparked and clean out, and obviously the Matisse fight and the Khan fights. And when you see that he obviously beat those two pretty clearly, and then you see that he's struggling again and again and again with B-level maybe Mauricio Herrera, a shot, and he is shot Guerrero. Lamont Peterson, who then got a schooling, I thought, off of was it Felix Diaz?
Yeah, Felix Diaz. Felix Diaz should have won that.
Yeah, exactly. And Peterson beat Garcia, I thought, and it just makes you think how good really was Matisse, how good really is Khan. I mean, people say that, if Khan just boxes in for 12 rounds, he pisses it, but Peterson could do it. Herrera could do it, and you'd think that Khan's better than both of them, but obviously not. And it makes me question: is Khan actually that good, and is Matisse really that good? I mean, we all thought that Matisse would blast out, but he got fucking just beat
Schooled.
easily. But yeah, well, schooled maybe not, but I think handled easily by Garcia, and it just really warps my brain to think how this guy managed to beat two arguably really good fighters and then struggle with these B-level fighters. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with him. And I don't know what's next for him. I think that Khan should probably win the rematch. I think Brook would probably destroy Garcia. Thurman as well, and Porter. They should win, but based on everything, on all my perceptions before, that they could easily get beat by him. It's a very strange one.
I'll tell you one thing I would like to see actually. I mean, well, just going back to Garcia doing it one, the B-level fighters. I mean, I don't want to be making excuses for him. If he was struggling with the weight, he should have moved up sooner than that. But obviously, they wanted to test the waters with the weight before they went fully blown. So you don't know if that was something that maybe affected him in the Herrera fight. No making excuses for him, but he still, to me, doesn't look like a fully fledged welterweight. And I think if you see to face off with the likes of Brook in a unification, I think Brook would actually dwarf him.
He's got a weird sort of size about him, hasn't he? I think like I was trying to analyze it earlier. Like Garcia, I think his shoulders are quite big, and he's got, I don't know, I think like chunky legs, I suppose. But Brook is obviously massive, and he's just far too big for the weight, and I think he's going to be moving up anytime soon. And even though, like I said, I think Brook smashes in the bits, maybe not knockout, but because Garcia does seem to have a pretty solid chin on him. But yeah, I think that Brook, even if he's not going to knock him, he's just too strong for him. He'll be too strong, and he'll just beat him up.
No, on the
What
undercard,
the hell is Brook's story, though? I mean, he was supposed to be fighting Diego Chavez last year.
injury.
Has
I think
Well,
done
yeah, I
nothing.
mean, I don't want to. Yeah, I'm no big fan of Brook. I've been very highly critical of Brook, and just the absolute piss poor competition. When you think about it, his best win is a razor thin decision over Sean Porter. It's just like, well, is he that good? He looks good. He looks like he's got the goods when he's fighting absolute shit. But I guess we'll see.
now on the undercard, Dominic Briswell against Amir Mansour. Decent enough fight, as I say just before we went on live there. Actually, it just shows you what happens when you get two guys at similar level, in the ring. I don't really rate Mansour all that much, and Briswell even less so, Dave. But quite a fun fight. I mean, I think Mansour actually shot his bolt after knocking Briswell down in the third round, because I think by the end of it, actually, he was actually ready to go himself. I think he was out of puff by that point. Now they're talking about broken jaws and stuff, but it was a decent enough fight while it lasted.
Yeah, he was hurt, also fighting recklessly and wildly and tired. But I think Brazil was tired and hurt as well. Probably not as badly. He probably had more fight left in him. And it was a good fight while it lasted. The ending was blue balls for everyone watching because we didn't really get a clear-cut victory, which you definitely want after a slugfest like that. I mean, yeah, Briswell, he weathered the storm and was the guy who got off his stool, so he obviously won the fight. But you don't want to see it end with a guy quitting after like putting it all on the line like that. And it was pretty clear in the replay that his mouth was open when he got hit. Probably broke his jaw maybe in multiple places. I heard that one of the commentators say he bit through his tongue too. So, I mean, it's hard to criticize a guy too much for quitting in that condition. But it was a good fight, and I'm kind of Brazil is I don't know, he's an Olympian, a former Olympian. Didn't really show up in his Olympics fight. Very inexperienced, one of those former football players. You always have those, but he does have a dog in him, and it showed up last night. He's tough. He got back up and stayed in there. Also, he had the presence of mind to hold on when he was hurt, which was interesting to see. I didn't know he was that intelligent. I mean, this is a guy who many think got robbed or got a gift against Fred Cassie, who we saw against Mansour is.
Evil
I
knockout as well.
mean, he's a kind of a crafty veteran, but he's nothing special by a long shot. And he also looked out of shape to me. He's massive. He's a massive guy. 6'7", huge upper body.
Definitely a flap there, though, eh? He had fucking
Yep, yeah,
man boob.
he's got big tits. So if he wore a card though, I mean, he could be something. It's I don't know if we'll ever see that. It might be like the Riddick Bowe story, you know. Although he probably will never reach the Bowe level.
Steve, you enjoyed the fight, mate. Pretty much like I did, but got to be kind of real about what level Briswell could potentially go to. I mean, then again, I know the heavyweight division is wide open, but do you see him doing much?
No, I don't see him doing anything. He's shit, but I'm going to give him credit as well, saying that, Andy, because I mean,
He got up.
we all see what he is. He's a big lump. He looks like he's punching underwater. Those things haven't changed. But the guy showed character. He could have quit when he was badly hurt on a few occasions, especially in that third round. But he didn't. He boxed through. And Mansour, to be fair to him, for a guy who sort of took up so late, his head movement was pretty good because Brazil was having trouble tagging him cleanly, but he showed heart, he showed balls, and he started throwing a lot towards the end, and he basically smashed Mansour into submission, and you have to give him credit for that. And whenever I was looking for the fight footage afterwards on YouTube, flicking through, trying to avoid the score, I saw someone saying that he'd been exposed, but I wouldn't say he'd been exposed. Does anybody really think he was ever going to be anything? I actually said the opposite. I think that he sort of went up a rung in my estimation because I just thought he could have got banged right out there. I mean, he's useless, but he lives to fight another day, and it's just the same as, like the likes of Charles Martin. It's just a sad indictment of modern heavyweight boxing at the moment to think that guys like this could be boxing for a title soon, and that he represented America at the Olympics. No offense, Dave, but I mean, he's pretty terrible. But I'll give him credit for his balls, bit of skill. He's got the little bingo wings hanging on down the side as well, but he seems to pack a little bit of power as well. Could still be an interesting person in the heavyweight mix, but he's going to be served up on a platter to somebody, isn't he, and banged out in a couple of rounds. But last night, give Dominic his due. He impressed me on a small scale.
Vasquez against Martinez, pity red pity. I think Vasquez was pretty much dominant for the whole fight. So I didn't really pay too much close attention to it. It was quite late, but Vasquez, I've seen him before actually. I'm sure this guy actually fought under Mike Tyson's promotion for a while, but then I think he's obviously moved over to Heyman. But yeah, I mean, he's a decent fighter, I suppose. I think he fought in the army or whatever it was, Southpaw, but decent enough little fighter. Maybe something about him that he could maybe push Garcia, but I don't see it being close. I suppose I think maybe Garcia will maybe end up finally maybe get a knockout. Actually, maybe that left hook, who knows? But Dave, Sammy Vasquez, I think he's going to be pushing Danny Garcia close.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gave Garcia trouble. He's a smart fighter. I didn't know anything about him really before seeing yesterday's fight, other than his record, which I checked out briefly, and knowing how Aaron Martinez has really stepped up in his last two fights. I thought it was going to be quite a competitive, fun fight to watch. Ultimately, it was not. It was pretty dull, and I was glad when Martinez pulled out because that was really just to showcase Vasquez, or Vasquez as I think they say he calls himself. He's an Army veteran with PTSD. He maintained range, worked effective straight shots, and found openings, created openings on Martinez, who really was pretty listless. I heard he looked bad at the weigh-in. I didn't see it, but he looked like a Holocaust victim. But Vasquez, I think he's. I mean, I was more impressed by him than I was by Garcia last night. I'll say that much.
You impressed with him, Alex?
I didn't see this fight.
You don't see it?
No, I saw the heavyweight fight. I didn't even realise this fight was on the card. So yeah, that's just me being a casual, I suppose. But I've heard a lot of good things about Sammy Vasquez, and I should probably watch this. If he beat that Aaron Martinez, who seems to have been, he's beaten quite a few. He obviously beat Devin Alexander, didn't he? He deserved the Robert Guerrero nod as well. I seem to remember that fight. He deserves a bit better, I guess, but he's been in quite a few of the PBC fight events now, hasn't he? That Aaron Martinez. So, Sammy Vasquez, fair shout to him. I'll have to watch that fight until he gets home.
In Mexico last night, Jose Zepeda, actually, I think he's, well, I don't know if it's a keep busy fight, whatever it was, but I think he's going to be in the final eliminator now for WBO title. He had a one-round knockout against Amith Diaz, Some of the British guys probably know about him if Diaz. I thought he stopped Martin Gethering actually over a year, 2 years ago.
Haven't they ordered the Zepeda rematch already?
For Flanagan.
Yeah. If he beats, Matthews.
Well, there was talk about Burns fighting him for the final eliminator. I don't know if Burns would end up going across back to Frank Warren for that fight or whatever, but pretty pointless. I mean, it's just simple, just break off whatever rust was there, because it was just basically a shovel left uppercut to the body, and then Diaz went down, got up at the count of like 9.5, and the referee waved it off. So not much you can really take from it. Steve, the Box Nation card on the Friday, Amit Diaz, forget who he was fighting again, and Ryan Walsh also on the card, mate. Just gives a brief takedown on both fights on that
Yeah,
card.
it was Ahmet Patterson who was boxing Ryan Aston. I've heard of both of them, but I hadn't seen any of their fights before. Patterson looked quite decent, knocked Aston out. As for the main event, Walsh, as I was saying off air, he was fighting Darren Trainer, a Scottish guy. Trainer was supposed to fight James Tennyson, who's from Belfast, in an eliminator, but he got a direct shot at Walsh. Walsh had too much for him. Although saying that, Trainer hurt him, I think it was in the second round. So he showed that he has vulnerabilities, and a big, strong kid like Tennyson could give him a lot of trouble. So fair play to Frank on this one. Bang the York call out. Walsh seems to have a decent following. Don't think he's going to go too far beyond British level, but it was a decent fight for him anyway. But Trainer wasn't really up to much, and I'm looking forward to Tennyson, like being a Belfast fighter, boxing Walsh, and I'd give him a good chance of running him close as well. But from what I saw, it seemed like a decent card. A few of those little dodgy 4-rounders thrown in between, nothing of real note. But yeah, Frank's rumbling on. Actually, Andy, just one other thing. I'm not sure if you're going to mention it or not, but only in the perverse world of professional boxing could your boy Campas pick up a win last night, 44
DQ.
years old now. Yeah, he must be about 80 odd in boxing terms. Yeah, disqualification win, as you say, in round 7 over Anthony Bonsante. This was the battle of the John Duddy victims in the boxing hotbed of Montana. I just brought up Campus's box rec there. Now he's boasting 106 wins, 17 losses, 3 draws, 81 knockouts. So he's sort of at Marty Jakubowski levels of greatness now, and just typical Mexican, the old grizzled features, coriaceous skin, and he's rumbling on with little else to do. So go Yore.
Just looking at his box rec, so that picture of him looks like it was taken in the 70s or something.
Yeah, when he was about 30.
Yeah.
Fucking fair play to him. At least he got out anyway. Well, for his health and money he's got left, fair on him. Well, that's pretty much the fights for this week. So just to kind of
Parker fought as well, didn't he?
Oh, I've not seen that actually. The knockouts kicking around somewhere on YouTube. He fought.
He went a few rounds, didn't he?
7 rounds, I think it was. I was following it on Twitter and stuff. I think this Bergman guy was absolutely just took a lot of punishment, and then I think he got dropped at least 2 or 3 times before the referee finally waved it off. I think the fight took place in his ancestral homeland of Samoa, I think it was as well. So
Bergman landed a few left hooks now, which would be maybe a bit of a cut. I only saw highlights on YouTube, and then they sort of disappeared after that. I saw the knockout and a few like extended highlights before that. And this guy Bergman, he's supposed to be a bit of a knockout artist, but a bit of a pudding as well. And people expected Parker to get rid of him a bit sooner. And from what I saw, he landed the left hook a few times. Now maybe Parker was just thinking, I'm going to blast this guy out at any time, but could be a cause for concern. We don't know. Parker's expected to be boosted to maybe 2nd or 3rd in the IBF rankings, so maybe he could push for eliminator with Anthony Joshua or something. Perhaps we know the IBF are quite stringent with their mandatories and all that, but he's moving into sort of contender status now, and he's a big puncher. So looking forward to see how he progresses, but he has to be tested. I mean, he hasn't really fought anybody at the same time, to be fair.
See if we can drag him away from his Xbox, get his early thoughts on the shit that kicked off on Twitter over the last couple of days between Amir Khan, Kilbrook and Eddie Hearn. Adam, you there?
Yeah.
10 million he wants, baby.
Hello.
10 million, that's what Khan wants.
I mean, yeah, I laughed nearly as hard as most people, to be honest. What's he doing? What? I've asked the question many a time. People, I'm going to be repeating my views, and I still think Khan's a good fighter to watch. I enjoy watching him, but what's he doing? Like 10 million? I just don't understand. Like 10 million, we're up. Even Froch didn't earn, you're at similar levels to that. And as Paul as Paul often says when we speak about that, that was the perfect storm. I mean, a Brook and Khan fight this summer is nowhere near a perfect storm of a promotion. You know, Khan hasn't been seen in the country for years. Kell Brook's been injured and fought, and when he is in the ring, fights crap. I mean, you know, we're not talking the biggest fight of all time. I don't know. I don't know what more I can say about Khan without coming across as a hater. I know I am, but you know, I don't want people to just think I'm a
It'll
full-time.
please you to know that Khan was ringside last night, perhaps scoping Garcia out, and Floyd showed up, and they spent the 5th round talking trash on each other, according to Steven Espinosa. So he still wants that fight.
But well, he can wait for that fight. He's not going to get it. Doesn't deserve it. But I've watched a couple of videos of Khan actually, and Belly of the Week's nomination for LA Setback saying that Wembley would do 90,000 for that fight easily. But Khan's talking about some of the comments about, you know, Brooks running scared him and all that sort of stuff. And then the next minute I'm seeing comments from Eddie Hearn saying he's wanting 10 million. And then Brooks coming back saying I'll set 60-40. 60-40 is, you know, 60-40 is fair, I suppose. 65-35 maybe. You know, 60-40 is probably fair, you know, for Khan. But 10 million.
I thought Tommy made a very interesting point earlier in the week. I mean, obviously Tommy's a massive fucking troll, and you know, I probably shouldn't take any of his points seriously, but he said that the fact that Eddie Hearns is willing to offer 60-40 to Khan shows you that Khan probably deserves a hell of a lot more.
Well,
if that's the go-to money.
Has he got anywhere near 10 million ever before in his life? No.
He doesn't deserve it.
I mean, listen, if he'd fought Garcia there last night, I mean, what did Garcia get? 1.5? He could have probably made parity if he'd fought Garcia there last night.
Well, fucking Guerrero got like
1.3
million odd, yeah.
Right, here's the question then. If Khan had fought Floyd Mayweather in 2015 or even 2014, would he have got anywhere near £10 million? I don't think so.
Well, Canelo, I know, I remember Canelo's purse for the Floyd fight was $5 million, I'm sure.
Dollars?
Yeah, dollars. What's that?
Exactly.
That
so Khan ain't going to get
3.5 million.
3.5 million?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So then you get the pay-per-view upside of that.
That just puts Khan's demand of £10 million into perspective. He would get no way near that to fight Floyd Mayweather last year or this year. He just puts it into perspective. He can say, and then he says, oh yeah, there was only about the middlemen, that's come out, and rightly so, that's come out. And he said, oh yeah, I only had 3 people representing me. 3 people. You just turn up. You with your one person, you do the deal and you piss off. You go and get ready for training. You fight 12 rounds. You earn however much it might be, $7 million, say. You win the fight. You take a belt home, and then you go on Ramadan for however long that is.
It's hard to believe that this is the same guy who at 140 took on all comers. Like he wanted the Maidana fight to answer questions about his chin, and he wanted Peterson because Bradley wouldn't fight him because he wanted the Pacquiao fight. But Khan has made like a sort of Mayweather-esque shift in his career. I mean, Floyd used to be more of a legacy-based. I want to fight the best fighter. Then he became all about money and all about the safe route. Now Khan's done the same thing, and it's disappointing.
I'm going to put this one right here. I don't know if I'm just off or being soppy or whatever and stuff like that. You just don't think that maybe Khan's become fucking civilised nowadays. I mean, he's married, he's got the bairn in the house now, he's got the money.
He's married for a while as well, yeah.
You know, didn't he flash his dick on Skype after he was married?
Yeah, I know that. What's that? But come on, though, think about it. I mean, if you've got, I don't know how much he's made, but just say for estimate's sake, he's got something like 5 million left, right? Married, he's got the house, he's got the cars, the jewellery. He doesn't need to go in the ring and take punishment anymore.
He must be fucking minted. He's got the fucking sponsorship deals here. What was it, Reebok he was sponsored by? I mean,
Maxi Muscle and all that.
Yeah, he's minted, mate. I don't think he needs the money. He's just...
So everything here on in is going to be legacy based, right? So it's the biggest cash out fight. I think, back to your question, Adam, about Floyd and that, if he fought Floyd, I think if Khan and Floyd had fought back 2014, 2015, whatever it is, we wouldn't be hearing from Khan again. Khan would be retired. He'd be doing a frotch. He'd be on Sky trying to do his punditry and stuff like that. I don't think you would actually see him in the ring again. Same if the Brook fight were to happen. Which, oddly enough,
Well,
actually, guys, I had someone hit me up on Twitter and managed to get a hold of the first episode of this Nuthouse podcast, and he stated that there was myself, Tommy, and Matty all claimed back. This is 3 years ago that the fight wouldn't happen.
I
And
think
here
we'd
we
be
are.
talking about a Khan Floyd rematch right now if that fight had happened. Because I don't know if Khan would have won or got the decision, but I think that would have been a competitive fight and that people would have wanted to see again because of how close it was.
well, yeah, possibly, and that's the whole thing about it. None of us are saying that he's a bad fighter, but he could have pushed Floyd. I was in the camp that said he could have pushed Floyd. I don't know if he'd have beat him like yourself, but he'd have pushed Floyd. He would probably be the favourite to beat Brook. Just get on with the fighting. Just get on with it.
At what point does Brooke say, or should we say when Eddie says? I mean, Khan eventually is going to be, he's either going to not take this fight or he's going to do his own thing. Ultimately it's Khan's decision. We've seen that, I think. If he wants to have the fight will probably happen. But at what point do we think Brooke has to say, well, no, I've had enough of waiting around. I'm going to do my thing now. I mean, how old's Brooke? He's about 30 odd now, isn't he? Just 30.
Aye.
I mean,
I think he's on
surely.
borrowed time at that weight though as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that he's due for 154 soon.
This is why I think the window is this year. If it doesn't happen this year, certainly if it doesn't happen by the summer, I really have my doubts about it happening at all.
What does doing his own thing exactly mean? I mean, where's the ambitions lie with this guy? I mean, is he
He's
happy to
doing
just
that anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, is he just going to sit along knocking out the mandatories and just waiting for the car and waiting for
Well,
this, or is he going to actively go off and find something else? I mean, what's he looking at?
can you imagine if he does beat Garcia though and he's got a WBC title to then come back to the table with? I mean, I remember Hay, Klitschko and that, it was all about, split of the purse and stuff, so Hay went out and won the WBA title and that and increased it 50-50. So I don't think Klitschko was going to sit on the 50-50 for a while. But no, Khan's going to want to pick up that title, I think. Something, a wee bit extra bargaining power to bring to the table because he's really got shit to come with just now. I mean, when was the last time he fought in the UK as well? Were fans going to turn out to watch him?
I've been saying that for years. But the thing is, he's contradicted himself. I think last week, from what I gathered, he was saying, "Oh well, I'm mandatory for the WBC. I might chase that." Well, what you said that belts didn't count because you was discounting Kel's IBF belt. He just contradicting himself. Just make your mind up, or shut up. And really, that's what Brooke said on his one tweet the other day. I mean, I do love how they fall out over Twitter. But to be fair, on this time, Eddie has kept quiet until Khan came out in the press and said they turned the fight down. I mean, that's the thing. Like Billy Joe, similar. He can say, "Oh yeah, I'll fight
Well, that's what
Triple G.
I was going to mention
50
that.
million."
I was going to mention that. I mean, is
the same, really.
this situation any different to be like what Billy Joe's doing and what Leo Santa Cruz did with Rigondo?
But
It could be
the Billy
construed as a
Joe
duck.
situation.
£10 million. Come on, man. You got to be £10 million.
It's crazy. The Billy Joe situation, though, to be fair, he does have other options. Amir Khan has not got many options at all. I know there's an option, come up last night with Garcia winning. Yeah, fair dues, I'll take that. But other than Garcia, of which we don't know if Garcia actually wants that fight, as has been mentioned earlier. Other than that fight, Khan's not got much to go at. And he hasn't for the last 18 months.
And right now he's doing the old pricing himself out trick on the biggest fight he has.
Do you think that'd be construed as a duck then, Dave, if he's doing that? I mean, I say that about Santa Cruz with Rigondo, $3 million. Who's going to pay him $3 million to fucking fight Rigondo? Oscar offered it and then he went, "Oh fuck that, no way."
It's basically the same thing. It's hard to know Khan's motivations. I'm not really following it that much because I don't particularly care that much about Khan or Brooke. But I would say he's probably pricing himself out on this one.
I mean, I don't. You guys have already said it. I don't think it sells out Wembley. I don't think it's as big of a fight as they all seem to think it is. But then, when you get the Sky promotion behind it and the hype and all of that shit, they can sell fucking sound to the Arabs. So. It's an interesting one. I think that they can drum it up a bit. People I think even getting a bit sick of Brooke fighting absolute shite. I mean, the feedback I've read of Brooke versus Kevin Bizier all over social media and things like this, just when is Brooke going to fight anything decent? This is a load of wank. What a fucking garbage champion. Blah blah blah. And I think that people started to turn against him a little bit, and Khan. is almost on the positive end of that, because he seemingly, because Brooks not in the public favour anymore, then Khan isn't exactly in the angst of people either. So I mean, there's still a lot of people still thinking that Khan's ducking him, and I believe that. I think Khan doesn't want the fight. I think that it's too much of a risk for him, and maybe his ego is not allowing it to happen either. But
Just on the Wembley thing, I think that I'm not saying it'll do 87,000 or whatever. I'm not saying it'll sell out in a day, but with the, as we always say, with the matchroom ability to put decent cards on, obviously that will be the main event. And secondly, because the last Wembley, when the only Wembley was such an event, people will just want to be there almost regardless of what's on the card. Obviously, the main event needs to be the attraction. So I reckon they'll get it close. But they're all talking.
I was going to say, if Khan wants 10 million, there ain't going to be a fucking undercard.
Yeah, well, but just on the 10 million now. Didn't we say the other week, going on the figure of 400,000? Didn't we say that brings in the range of £7 million for I'm talking about December the 12th. So if that say 400,000 brings in £7 million, even if you're going up to 600,000 for this potential fight, that's not far off 10 million in itself. Then you've got the gate as well. So really, I know, although it is absurd, the £10 million is absurd. It could be generated if they really, really wanted it, and it was really quite stupid. It could actually be generated.
I just feel a bit ill talking about it.
Fucking, I was just going to say, I feel ill at the prospect of just listening to the Sky hype, because they need to tour all that. They need to be fucking, the build up to that could be unbearable. But I suppose if that's what we're going to go through to get the fight, then I suppose that's what will need to happen. But at the minute,
just want him to fight someone decent. That's what you want, innit? I mean,
well, who's Khan going to fight? I mean, if this fight's going to be happening in June, he needs to be fighting at the same night as fucking Brooks fighting. He can contest with injuries, possible cuts. But I mean, with the sounds of it, I mean, Khan's wanting 10 million, Eddie's offering 60-40. Khan's obviously think he's worth more than that. He's the one that's got Heyman behind him or whatever it is, so he could probably, he'll be on it with doing the negotiation. So it sounds to me we're still miles away from a fucking deal. Although there's been chats, it's just it's.
Well, I couldn't give a fuck about them two. Ultimately, I couldn't give a fuck if they fought. I just want to see either of them in a good fight. I want to see good fights. I want to see, Brook versus Garcia. Yeah, I'm alright with that. Brook versus Furman. Brook maybe versus Porter again. I mean, the first fight was a bit shit, but a rematch I wouldn't say no to. Fucking, I want to see Khan against any of those names as well. They don't have to fight each other. Just fucking fight someone decent instead of being pussies around each other. It's just embarrassing. This division is absolutely stacked with quality talent. There's talent absolutely rising up for it as well. Errol Spence as well, and Sammy Vasquez, as you guys mentioned, and it's just absolute shite. Everyone in it is becoming almost irrelevant because they're just not fighting each other, and it's embarrassing. And you get sick of the sport when you just think of the ridiculous politics and money grabbing and fucking greed and ego, and you just think, fuck off and fight.
On the Bizier situation, I would say that's unlucky, to be fair. It does stink. It really, really stinks. But it is quite unlucky. Obviously, they wouldn't fight him as a voluntary in a million years, even Matchroom. But it's been mandated, so it's unfortunate for them.
Thing is, the IBF, though. The IBF is trash.
Well, the IBF, man, listen, they did everything fucking possible to get that title back in America after Fury picked it up. That was complete bullshit.
Yeah.
And just going back to the welterweight situation, if Brook doesn't get this fight, we can. At some point, he's going to get called in against Errol Spence because he's number 2 in the ratings just now. So I don't know how long IBF's at. 9 months they usually leave it between managed defences. So you could possibly be looking at the end of the year if he doesn't fight Khan by that point.
Exactly, this is what I'm wondering about Brook, because I was a bit confused earlier. Whenever I was going on about the career trajectory, I thought you were talking about Brook. I was actually on about Brook, not Khan. I mean, where does the extent of his ambitions lie? I mean, is he happy to sit on the shelf and just, has he mentioned who he wants to fight if the Khan fight doesn't come off? I'm actually questioning where Brook's career is heading at the moment.
Well, I think we've got a Twitter question relating to it actually, so maybe we can just go to that Twitter question now, see if I can find it. It mainly can involve leaving Eddie Hearn, I think.
The thing with the IBF, it's like Robbie Savage at football. You'd like him to be on your team, but when he's against you, you hate him, and that's what it is with the IBF.
Right, here it's here, Steve. David O'Hara asks, if Brook doesn't get Khan or a unification, does he tell Eddie to fuck off? And how much responsibility should the fighter take for fights not getting made? Seems to me that it gets forgotten the promoter works for the boxer and not the other way round.
Yeah, that's the point exactly. What's Brook coming back and telling him? I mean, is he happy to take these extended layoffs? We all know the reasons why Brook's had layoffs, obviously, but he's been like this ever since back when he was with Frank. I mean, Frank had a lot of things to say about his
Aye.
character whenever he left, about his attitude and whatever. We know he struggled
dad.
with the weight.
Your dad wanted the Pacquiao fight, remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah, all these things, So where's Brook heading? I mean, that's what I don't understand.
He
So
must be getting paid a few quid. If
He is. He's got to be, because he's a prime candidate for teaming up with Uncle Al. He's more of a prime candidate than Lee Selby will ever be.
yeah, I think I've always said that he
Brook will be
will.
getting paid a packet.
Yeah, I think I always said that he'll eventually team up with Al, but I'm actually starting to doubt whether he will now. Maybe he's happy enough just sauntering along. I mean, what was the official reason in the end for the Chavez fight not happening? Why has Chavez not been brought back in again? I mean, we've got Bizier now being lined up as the mandatory, and I don't know about Brook. I'm sort of getting fed up. This was the same sort of thing that happened when he was with Frank as well. There was a lot of potential, a lot of promise, but never just quite translated into action in the ring and putting the Porter fight to one side. I'm sort of a bit fed up with his career, to be honest.
He gets plenty of action in the ring.
You had to go there, Dave, didn't you? You had to go there.
Well, just keeping on that, actually, I've got a few other questions relating to Brook. Now, I did mention it 2 weeks ago about his record, and Gary Jones asks, I feel Special K Brook has got the most padded record of all world champions, worse than Wilder, as I feel he lost to Porter. What's your thoughts on that one, Dave? I mean, let's have a look at his record, right, from when he signed up with Eddie Hearn, right? And Lewis Galarza, that was actually on the Ward Frotch undercard in Atlantic City, so no bother counting that one. Matthew Hatton, Carson Jones, Hector Saldivia, the Jones rematch, Vyacheslav Jenchenko, Alvaro Rubeles, Sean Porter, then Jojo Dan, Frankie Gavin, and now he's getting Kevin Bizier.
It's not
Whatever
great,
happened-
is it?
Like, he basically ducked Diego Chavez, who's actually a decent fighter.
See, I don't want to say ducked him, but I don't know if the injury was legit. I don't know if it was also something to do with the fact that
It was that pay-per-view situation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't know how much of that was actually involved.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like afraid of Chavez, but he definitely pulled out of that with a fake injury, I think. But I do think he beat Porter in a very close fight. It was a hideous fight, and he held way too much. I think they should have penalized the holding. But yeah, I gave him to him 7-5. I actually thought Carson Jones could have beat him in the first fight, though. That was close. That was much close.
It's an interesting question if you base it on the fact that he lost to Porter. If you're of that belief, then you've got to say that his resume is absolute fucking wank. I mean, Wilder at least convincingly beat Stivan. Who else did he beat? No one. Well, Malik Scott, but again, you can argue that was, Vix.
Spilka, arguably top 10, maybe, well, not even top 10, I would say.
Top 20 maybe. Yeah, I mean, were any of Brook's opponents top 20 when he beat them? Again, apart from Porter.
Porter, obviously, well, top 20. What was Michael Jennings at the time? I know he was still kicking around. I think he'd no longer coming off fighting.
Shinchenko, what was he? He must have been sort of around.
He would have been decently around. I don't know if he was in the top 10 though.
Yeah,
When
definitely.
did he fight Michael Jennings? I forgot about that. Bloody hell, that must have been years ago.
It was on
He
the
fought
Royal,
Jennings. I
wasn't
think it was his second last
That
fight.
was on the
before.
Magnificent Seven card.
Yeah, it might have been a
yeah,
British title
Birmingham.
fight.
He beat that Polish guy for the European title, but
Aye.
he was like top
Djokovic.
three.
Jakovic, he'd seen
He
better
was
days by
awesome.
that point. He was actually no bad, but he'd actually seen better days.
The Carson Jones first fight doesn't look too good in hindsight, really, does it? But I mean, the weight and Jones was a bit better back then, but still.
Yeah, the
Zinchenko
second
was
fight doesn't
decent.
look too good to me either because I mean I know Brook destroyed him, but that was a joke with the weights. I mean they first Carson Jones thinks he's going to have to make welterweight, then they move it up a few pounds because obviously Brook can't make it, then they move it up a few more pounds. It was just embarrassing.
Right, next question. I think there's another one here relating to Brook. Well, relating to the Wembley date anyway. Andrew Lee Evans asks, Adam, What other fight could Hearn have up his sleeve for Wembley June 4th if Brook falls through? I don't think he'll have any other fight actually.
No, I think.
Nothing else to put in it
No,
unless
yeah, I
he
think
can
it's that.
get AJ sorted out.
AJ would probably do half of it, to be fair, against the fucking
Well,
Windman.
unless he got unless it got like a double header, maybe like the Gale Groves, AJ, and some idiot, along them lines. I don't think he's got a standalone Wembley main event other than Brookon.
Anybody else want to
What are we
expand on
talking?
that?
I mean, when's AJ fight? April, ain't he? So that's only a couple of months beforehand.
It's looking like me. I was listening back to an old podcast actually about the Chisora fight, and I didn't think it would happen next. I thought it might happen the fight after, but it looks like AJ Chisora's going to get made. I really think that's going to happen.
Yeah, fucking Hellenius binned his belt for fuck's
Yeah.
sake.
Is that official?
Yep.
Yeah, proper binned it. I saw some tweets from an account that looked like it's Robert Hellenius' dad. I don't know if it's fake or something, but he said that he was saying that the reason why Hellenius didn't take that fight or he binned his belt is because he never ever was going to work with two unprofessionals as known as the Sauerlands again. And he typed sniff next to it. And he kept talking to them and he just put sniff after every single comment.
Well,
How the hell would he have a belt anyway? Like, to begin with.
Hellenius is terrible anyway.
Hellenius came back off promotional problems, won 2 tune-up fights, and then won the fucking vacant European title against, I forget who. He was meant to fight Tepper, that's what it was, and he fought someone else.
And one of those tune-up fights, a friend of mine was at that. I think it was in Estonia, and it was like an exhibition or something apparently.
Jesus.
Unless that was a third one, but I mean, really, the level of opposition, the point I'm making, has been pretty poor for Hellenius, so he's just looking to catch you.
Yeah, I mean, Dell hasn't exactly looked spectacular lately. I thought that would have been a decent fight, or Chisora versus Hellenius, the rematch, because they both looked pretty bad ever since the first fight, and I think
Roughly on the same level, maybe nowadays.
yeah, exactly. So
He let Michael Sprott go 10 rounds with him.
well, yeah. I mean, the Chisora fucking Femi fight is just bad. I think I just think it's blatant bait for saying, well, David Haye took this many rounds, AJ managed to do it a lot quicker. That's all it's there for. And obviously,
I don't actually mind it.
Vacant belt, another vacant belt win for Joshua. Vacant British, vacant Commonwealth, vacant Europe.
Dave,
But it's not his fault people are running from him, is it, Alex?
Oh no, he's the terror of Watford.
Dave, Emily Rogerson asks, is 2016 the year we get the big fights when the fans want them? GGG against Canelo, Kovalev against Ward, Brook versus Kant, Joshua versus Haye.
No.
I don't want to see Joshua versus Haye because I don't want to see Haye get a payday. I'd rather see Haye get sparked by some bum or just sparked in sparring and get paralyzed. But it's just impossible to predict, like, are we ever going to see these big fights? I did believe for a while that we were going to see. I mean, before, like, Stevenson ran off to Heyman, I thought we were going to see that fight, and of course, we saw what happened. Like, it just seems like now, last year was a horrible year for fighters avoiding each other and blowing momentum they had. I don't see why this year should be any different, being that the promotional situation hasn't really gotten any better. I look forward to what goes on at heavyweight because I like Fury, and he's the champ. And I think that some of those fights can be made, being that Top Rank doesn't really have a Top Rank, and Golden Boy don't really have a horse in that race. So Heyman can probably work with the overseas guys. Maybe we'll see. Heavyweight is a division to watch. Welterweight, I don't have much hope for. Light heavyweight, Stevenson's not going to fight Kovalev. I mean, he had his chance. I think they saw each other in an event recently and tried to agree to it informally, and then we haven't seen anything since then either.
Yeah, that's another fight I don't expect to happen. If it doesn't, again, this another fight has got a window on it. If it doesn't happen by this year, forget it.
Isn't Ward Kovalev supposed to be this year though?
That all went quiet after a while, didn't it, Steve? I mean, they were talking about agreement in principle. Then Ward claimed they don't get injured or something again, Mr. Glass.
Yeah, I think so.
Boxing.
Because
Well,
Ward's going to fight somebody on one of the undercards, wasn't he? And then the commission didn't approve it or something. Andre Ward's been cited less than
It
Kurt Ward
was
lately.
Yeah.
Golovkin. It was Canelo and
Yeah, he
Cotto.
was supposed to be against some Australian nobody on that undercard.
Was it
Aye,
Rowan Murdoch,
With
was
an
it?
injury.
that's it. Roran Murdoch and the commission's actually knocked it back.
So what's
he's
happened to
ducking.
what's happened to Adonis Stevenson now then? What's he doing? Have I missed this? Is he fighting anybody or is he?
Got to fight a Bika rematch or something.
Oh, bloody hell.
Excellent.
No, I don't know if that's happening or not, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Thing is, though, he's selling tickets in Canada. He's probably making big money, so he's not giving a fuck. And everybody's happy at PBC, apart for the fans, you know. So.
Well, Ward's ducking Sullivan Barrera at the moment. That's what the big thing's happening on social
Yes,
media. At
He was
least.
still chasing that fight, wasn't he? But Ward started coming back with some fucking weird.
He was just being a knob. He was saying, "Oh, you're just chasing this money. You're not getting a payday from me, bollocks." It's just you're supposed to be a fighter, mate. I mean, no, you're not getting a payday from yourself at the moment, mate. You're not even fucking fighting. It's just embarrassing. I mean, Sullivan Barrera he looks like an half decent talent. He's a Cuban, I think. Obviously, a lot of people say he's actually quite good, and I think that would be a nice, a decent opponent for Ward to come back against. Someone who's a touted prospect. And if he beats him handily, he looks pretty good. But
Be a good
again,
opponent. Be a good opponent for him, Alex. That would.
exactly, and he's just being an absolute knobhead about it. Any fight that he tries to make, he has to be a fucking bellend, and he just does. He gives you absolutely no hope for the Kovalev fight or a Stevenson fight. I mean, obviously, a Stevenson fight won't happen because of fucking Heyman and Jay-Z, but still, fucking hell, he's not going to fight anyone.
It's true, actually. It's a shame as well. Right, next question. Steve D-Dog asks, has Hearn effectively lost James DeGale and Lee Selby? He wants them to fight two bums at the O2. He would rather earn big dollars with Heyman.
I think he's lost them as much as if Al, calls the tune. So if he wants to do certain things with them, they have to go over and do whatever Al says. If Al's happy enough to put them on in London or whatever, then he'll use Eddie to his discretion. That's it. Al calls the shots basically. They're happy picking up the money, and especially DeGale. I'd be surprised if I see either of them back anytime soon. On the pay-per-view, maybe if they get a few quid, they could do, but they're Heyman fighters for me at the moment, and I'd be surprised to see them.
Chat just said that Stevenson's fighting Lyda Alvarez next.
Well, he's mandatory challenger, I think, is he not?
Yeah,
That's not a great fighter, but it's the best opponent he's faced in a long time.
and on the point of what we were just talking about, DeGale, Selby, I think they're both due mandatories next, so maybe they will be on a hand card because they're probably getting quite cheap.
Which would probably mean they were
Joshua?
talking about that Eric Hunter, would I know, for Lee Selby, that American boy.
I think so, yeah. And it's that is Katagui guy for.
Oh, Ustakagi for DeGale.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably right, and you maybe will get them on the O2 bill. Right, next question. Adam, Darren Parsons asks, if it's true that Porter wants to leave Al, which of the other big three would he be better off leaving them to? Just thinking, was it no Thurman we were talking about last week? No, it wasn't Porter. Sure,
Yeah, Thurman. Yeah, well, there's both on about it then.
Yeah, Porter as well.
Porter been talking about it as well? Jesus.
Mhm,
Yeah, I mentioned that. I think I mentioned that Thurman's trying to run his contract down or something. It was
So what's the
something
deal with
made
Porter
look-
then? What's going on
made me
here?
look like a fucking mug, but
What's the Porter story then, Steve?
I can't remember. Porter's had some beef. I heard it somewhere else. I can't even remember where it was. It was something to do with his dad as well. Maybe they're not happy about something. Maybe opponent choices. I think it could have been Percy's, but there's definitely rumblings there with the Porters, because then whoever was discussing it, they then went on to suggest who would be the other one. Do you think might start to be leaving? Because I think there's going to be a lot of discontent soon. We know Thurman, we know Porter. I think it's just the start. The few of them are going to start looking elsewhere, but there's definitely some issue with Porter, and I'm useless enough that I can't exactly remember what it is off the top of my head.
Wow. No Rosie in the garden there, is it? Bloody Christ.
Well, the short answer to that question for me would be Golden Boy, because Top Rank haven't really got anything at that other than Bradley, because Pacquiao will be retired after he loses that fight. So yeah, probably Golden Boy, or come over and sign with Eddie and fight Sam Eggington.
Bradley Skeet, whoever wins that one.
Yeah,
Right.
big fight.
Luke asks a question here about the debate, so check myself there. You may have already covered it, guys, but thoughts on the Panamanian heavyweight tournament, and are they doing it to out Tyson as champion? Well, I actually agree with him, actually, because if you look at the draw, it looks like, to my opinion, if Fury gets to the final, he would have the hardest route, the looks of it. So he's got to fight, if he beats Klitschko in the rematch, he would then have to fight the winner of Ustinov and Ortiz. Now, we're all impressed with Ortiz in his last fight. Meanwhile, Fred Oquendo gets a bye. He's another half of the draw. The winner, Chagayev against Brown, who's going to fight Oquendo. You just imagine the fucking ramification that fight's going to have because of the legal issues and stuff.
Well, yeah, exactly. If Chagayev beats Brown, how the fuck are they going to make an Oquendo rematch? Because I think fucking Oquendo's manager was saying he got like fucking death threats from him and he's suing them and shit.
He's still even paid you.
Exactly. So how the fuck are they going to make that fight?
Why is Oquendo still getting fights in and around world level? Why? Why the hell?
Because he's threatening them with fucking legal action, I imagine, and all the shit that they obviously got against Chagayev. I think they said that, they got threats saying that if your boy knocks out our boy, you're gonna get fucking killed. Basically, we're gonna fill you in, and it's just mental.
Because this fight matters so much.
Exactly, it's completely irrelevant, and the farce of this tournament is if Vladimir Klitschko was still champion, he would not be participating in it.
Yeah, and the IBF title would still be running about his waist as well.
Exactly.
So, but back to the point, are they trying to out Tyson as champion? Because one of the happy with his comments recently, I mean, I'm not saying they've got a vendetta against them, but fucking Jesus, man.
I mean, they're doing something right in the sense that they're trying to eliminate their belts and stop being fucking fannies about it. And, on a side note, they also ordered Anthony Crolla to fight Barroso, which is excellent.
Heard Snipper's going like, fuck this now.
Yeah, he's proper shit in it. So fair play to them for that. And you understand, I understand that it's good, but I just think that as soon as this is done, if this tournament even comes off, despite all, the politics and shite behind it, you just think, they're going to give a regular belt to the fucking loser, and they're going to give 2 interim belts to the semi-finalists. It's just ridiculous. And I think, obviously, they've really put Fury in it, the way that it is set up, but hopefully he comes through it. I mean, and what if Vlad wins and he says, I ain't participating in this shit. I ain't fighting Luis Ortiz. I'm going to retire. What if one of them gets really badly injured? I mean, you can't have these tournaments. It's just ridiculous.
They're just trying to dig up the past again. I think they had that tournament back in '67 after Ali got stripped of the title as well. I think it was Jerry.
Yeah, but they've got a champion now. So what's the problem?
The thing is, this is the point, because there's that many fucking belts. I mean, I think they were on the top of the case last week. They've got that many fucking belts on the go. They're not making these fucking, these mandatory shots, shall we say. I mean, Rigo sat without a mandatory challenger, no wanting to fucking fight him. So,
exactly.
Trying to clear it up a little bit at least, but it could take forever. And I think, obviously as well, they're talking about. I just basically see them, just strip them of legal issues.
Exactly, just strip them. They were saying the other day that someone was moaning to Gilberto, saying, "Well, this isn't fair on Tyson Fury. This is very tight on him," and he just simply replied, "Well, life's not fair." And so, well, why don't you just strip fucking Chagayev or Brown and strip Luis Ortiz? I mean, that's not fair, but you just said life's not fair, so fuck them.
Well, it is fair, because there's one champion.
Exactly. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I think Ortiz smashes all of them, even Fury. And I've really come to like Fury. I think Ortiz is a beast. But he's not a champion. Nowhere near it.
Dave Rocco asks, who's got the worst father in boxing and whose father is the nicest? I'd say Enzo Calzaghe is the nicest.
I couldn't understand a thing that guy said when he came on the podcast. I don't care about that. He knew. See, the thing I do like about Enzo is he knew that he lost the Hopkins fight. He was shitting his pants before they read that decision. He knew.
Oh, here we go.
The nicest dad in boxing, I don't know, George Foreman.
The late Len Woodall.
Yeah.
The worst, possibly Roy Jones Sr.
Yeah.
He smashed his kid with a freaking length of pipe.
That motherfucker should have done jail time. In this
Yeah, I
country,
mean,
they'd been fucking Roy would have been taken away and put into care.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I think
And
the
I
best
never
is
knew any of that
Anthony
until we
Joshua's
heard.
dad. For
Yeah, I never knew any of that until we talked with Bryn. Like how much pressure Roy was under as a kid and how hard he actually worked instead of just being naturally gifted.
Yeah. Um, Adam, Scotty RFC, if it's is it true if Quig beats Carroll they will make a new dish in the chippy called Cunt Supper as a tribute to Master Sensei?
um, I mean, if when Quig wins, they're going to be expanding from Bury Chippy. They might do one in Manchester. So I
doing
think
Quick's
that's the way
franchise.
forward for the Chippy. Expand. You've got to speculate to accumulate. I want to see more. I want to see more Chippies around. To be honest.
Fuck's sake.
Jars of quiggled onions on the desk.
Oh,
This
fuck's sake.
this question just goes back a wee bit to the Brook Can topic. Barry Evans asks, consider my tweets to Can a discussion point. When is he going to shut his mouth and fight someone? Tommy Can here.
I don't know. Who's got a crystal ball? I don't know. I think what we were saying earlier about Khan, he's made his money. I don't think he gives a shit anymore, to be honest. He's maybe trolling everybody, isn't he? Good luck to him. But if he's not going to fight, then just get out of the game. But it's hard, isn't it? Sometimes to walk away, and once his name mentioned, maybe he's got no intention of fighting again. Who knows? Who cares?
He's still really clinging to the past. He wants Floyd or Manny.
Next question. Junior asks, Alex, what active fighters currently would be a first ballot Hall of Famer when they retire with the current body of work?
Right now.
Good
question.
Pacquiao, obviously.
AJ.
Tony Bellew.
Your boy Campus.
This is a fair shout, to be honest. I was having this discussion with the Next Big Pod lads the other day. If, say this year, Floyd fights again, he just happens to fight and he wins, because, the cut-off point for entering the Hall of Fame is 5 years, isn't it, from the year you retire, and, you get your first chance. Say this year, I think the four choices were Manny, Floyd, Hopkins, and Roy, and only three of those can get in. Who gets in?
Floyd, Manny,
Hopkins.
Roy, Manny. Fuck
I was
Floyd.
going to say Roy because he went up to heavyweight, but then you could also pick apart his ledger somewhat at light heavyweight. I don't know, so I need to think about that one in a wee bit more detail. But
My answer for that was, I figured that it would be Floyd and Manny, obviously, and then I think I personally would pick Hopkins, but I think they would pick Roy because I think Roy's got a much bigger impression over there than Hopkins. I think that he had a much bigger impact when he was in his prime, and he was a much more significant sort of name and fighter when he was just absolutely untouchable, basically. And the Tava fight when he obviously got knocked out was just so impactful. Whereas Hopkins, his legacy is almost just his longevity and the fact that he lasted so long and so impressively. I mean, and the wins and unifying belts, what age 48 or something, is absolutely ridiculous. But I think Roy Jones would probably get in first purely because of the excellence that he produced in his prime.
Ow. A reverse question to that. Which one of those four fighters, if any, will fight in 2017?
Oh, Roy Jones.
Roy, yeah.
And that's the sad part about it. I mean, hopefully Roy does retire this year, and maybe we will see that scenario. But I think maybe even Vlad might retire this year as well. And he obviously, I don't think would get in before any of those guys. But
if he gets smashed by Tyson, which he should.
Well, he should in the rematch, but you never know. And again, I think he does retire this year, whether he wins or loses. I think he's got plenty of money in the bank and got a lovely little wife, so fucking retire happy while you still got your senses.
Second question for Junior Dave says, has Hay smashing oddly scared Hearn shitless or of it happening again to AJ?
Oddly, or that other guy, that
Just says
Demori
here,
guy?
has Hay smashing Oddly scared her and shitless of it happening again to AJ?
I mean, that happened years ago, so before AJ was even a thing. But whatever. I don't really get the question. I don't think Hearn wants that fight. There's other fights I think are more dangerous for Joshua. I wouldn't mind seeing the fight. But I really don't care to see Hay getting more recognition or more paydays.
Steve, George Reynolds asks if Hay picks up, this must be relating to Tyson Fury's comments, if Hay picks up a world title, would Hay against Fury unification be the biggest British fight of all time?
In terms of numbers, TV, money, then there's a good possibility it would be. Whether Tyson would go back on his word and fight Hay is a different matter. You'd have to think with the amount of money on the line, someone would have a word in his ear and he would make the fight, but he's adamant that he's not going to entertain the idea of Hay, and I can't say that I blame him. But yeah, I think monetarily and everything, it could smash all records. Yeah.
As a tag on to that, do you think AJ versus Hay would be absolutely even bigger if AJ got a title and Hay got a title?
Same, yeah. Depends on the scenarios, doesn't it? But intermix the three, and depending on whoever's star is brightest, whoever's the titles, I think whichever combination of the unholy trinity of our heavyweights, it could definitely be a massive box office attraction. Yeah.
I think Joshua could beat Hay at the moment.
It's a big call.
I'm just not that impressed with Hay.
Thing
He
is,
does
Eddie
terrible
Hearn-
against big guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no Hay fan, but Eddie Hearn certainly doesn't think so. He was backtracking, pretty much minutes after Hay smashed fucking Mark Demori. So
That's a good point as well. Who thinks that none of the fights will actually happen? Hay, Fury, Joshua, none of them fight each other.
God, we're being too optimistic today, aren't we?
What happened to the positive round?
Yeah,
Seriously though, is there a chance that none of them could ever happen?
yeah. I mean,
Oh, I
Hay,
suppose,
I
but
mean,
there's too
Fury
much
could get
money on the
sparked
table.
out.
There's too much money on the table at some point, I would imagine.
This year, hey, Joshua Fury easily could not fight each other. Fury's
Oh,
going to
not
be
this year,
tied up
they're
in
not.
mandatories, rematches, and Panamanian rubbish. Eddie Hearn's already said that AJ Hay will be at the end of this year, if at all. And when he said that before, you know what that means? That means the next year. We've seen the Christmas list last year. Yeah,
We'll give one this year.
easily. I would have it odds on. I'd have it odds
Oh,
on
it's
that
not
none of
going to
them
be this
three
year.
fight this year.
No chance this year. We're talking about ever, I suppose. I
Yeah,
mean,
ever, yeah.
Fury could easily lose to Ortiz or Vlad. Hay could just easily go into retirement again, and Femi could lose to anyone if he doesn't step up appropriately and actually fight decent levels of opposition. I mean, it could all just come fucking tumbling down, and yeah, I mean, we could get the fights in the future when maybe they've had a few losses. But
Exactly, that's the thing, isn't it? Once there's a loss on the ledger, then you're probably more likely to see it.
exactly.
Right, second last question. I'll go to you, Dave. Dobson Boxby asks, what is the cut-off point when PBC accepts failure? 2015 was shite, 2016 isn't much better. I suppose 2016 we haven't really got much lined up so far, but if last year's anything to go by, fuck.
It's not about the quality to them. I don't think it's just about the money, and I don't. Without knowing numbers, it's difficult to evaluate where they're at right now. But just from the ratings the shows do, the attendance the shows do on a general level, and combine that with how much they're spending to put on these shows, giving Guerrero $1 million paydays against Aaron Martinez, for example, they got to be in the red. So how long can they keep going? I guess we'll find out. We don't know. Bottom line, predictions. I think they're going to keep going for at least another year, at least 2017 through 2017.
Okay. Finally, I just open up to everyone. I think we've got a couple of Facebook questions as well. Paul Edwards asked, this is regarding fights made pre-2016 and looking at the landscape, could this be the worst year of matchmaking?
Fuck's sake, man. It's getting really dire and depressing. Yeah, I mean, again, it's far too early to tell.
Put
I
the
mean,
positive spin on it, mate.
the positive spin, there isn't one.
We've obviously got a lot of depressed characters listening to us.
Yeah, fuck me. I'm just trying to think of a positive spin that I could put on this year. I mean, we might see Kovalev versus Ward. We might see Lomachenko versus Uchiyama. Lomachenko
Ooh.
moved up to 130. We might see Gonzalez against one of the other flyweight champions. We might see
Yes.
Golovkin Canelo.
Mm.
Really struggling now. Yeah, I mean, it does. When you try and think of again, trying to be positive, but think of the fights we might get rather than ones we're not going to get. I think that we might still get a few decent ones, but again, when you start focusing on the ones we're definitely not getting, you just think, fucking hell.
We
Yeah.
might
Yeah,
see
shit, yeah.
Wilder versus someone with blood running through their veins.
Yeah, I mean, we might get Wilder Povetkin, so you know.
And we might get some good fights or unification fights in the cruiserweight division for a change.
Yeah, we've got Usyk possibly getting his Usyk
Title
versus
shot.
Glowacki next. I think is being lined up. So
Did I not read somewhere that Galacki was meant to be, or Golacki was meant to be defending against Steve Cunningham?
Yes.
because I heard that Usyk was saying that he's definitely next, but if it's fucking Cunningham, then he's obviously waiting it out again.
Well,
I think we'll see Kovalev against one of Ward or Stevenson this year. Sorry for being optimistic.
Steve, you got the Facebook questions there, mate?
Yes, I have two Facebook questions for you, Andy, stroke everybody else. First one is from Liam Wynn, and he asks, with the Tepper loss being removed from Big David Price's record, should the two Tony Thompson fights be removed as he was juicing too?
No.
Also, if they're removed, what 3 fights would you plan for Pricey this year to plot his big comeback?
No, because the Thompson fight shouldn't have been erased because there was doctors. The physicians basically proved that he needed the tablets for high blood pressure. There was no other reason for using it. I think he was talking about him using diuretics and stuff like that, but he had documented evidence from his doctor. I know you can actually pay someone to get that sorted out, but I've got to take the guy at his word. I think he's an honourable guy, so I'm going to say no. It wasn't juicing.
Do you think that we could see Big David Price thrown into the heavyweight mix and a quartet of big British fights? Dave thrown in with the likes of Joshua, Hay or Fury, or has that ship just sailed?
As far as it being, no, when you're dealing with Hearn, no ship has sailed. So I think he would go. I think he would stoop that low, even though I do respect Hearn as a man, and his job is not easy. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some shit like that this year.
I'm surprised that they're not making. Well, the Sauerlands at least are not trying to make David Price versus Chisora.
Should do an oddly Price rematch.
I think the Sauerlands have big plans for Price, but they just can't get him sort of past that lower level yet, can they? To get him into the big fights.
Well, no, I mean he hasn't looked even. Well, obviously the Tapper he got sparked out, and Tapper was off his tits. But I mean he didn't even look spectacular against the build-up opposition to that fight either. So it wasn't as if he's back to his old form of the big horrible heavyweight that David Price was. He's just still that timid sort of lanky streak of piss basically, and it's a shame. I don't think that getting that Tepper fight off his record, or even the Thompson fights off his record, would change how he feels now. It's not going to change him as a fighter because he's still got.
Yeah, he's been exposed, man. I mean, the Tepper fight as well. He's so timid. I mean, the guy with his height, you think he had a great jab and stuff, but it's like he's like molasses. He's just so slow, and then obviously the chin's always been in question, always been in doubt. And again, I was listening back to that first ever podcast we did. We spoke about it then 3 years ago. The word was out then. Word was out way before then, coming out the amateurs that he had that shocking chin. I'm going back as far as 2000, probably 2000. I want to say 2008, 2007.
The only one here on the pod was Kurt,
Tom.
who said he had a
Oh,
good
Kurt,
chin.
aye.
He was underrated.
Well, it's his gas tank too, isn't it, man? He has the lung capacity of an asthmatic beetle. I mean, he can't get past about 2 rounds of a fight. That's the problem. But I think
When it,
the Soylans were just looking to chuck him in the path of least resistance. I think try and just fumble their way through to a world title and cash him out. But I mean, anyway, that's the end of that. Right, one more, Andy, for you and everybody else. Another Facebook question from Michael Hederick. Why do so many British boxers think that the trainer who they boxed with as amateurs will be suitable in the professional ranks? With Luke Campbell being the latest in a long line of boxers who have found out the hard way that
Or
experience is
David Price as well.
at a higher level, with Gavin Bellew, Price being just a few recent ones, although I'm aware that there are exceptions, they are certainly in the minority. Thanks, Michael.
right.
Yeah, it comes down to that argument we had before about the difference between the amateurs and the pros. And thankfully, it's the amateurs are becoming more like the pros, so I hear. I still haven't watched much of it, and I will be watching this Summer Olympics. Actually, that's possible good news for boxing. We get Rio 2016 Olympics. There's going to be boxing. There's not going to be head guards.
Wait, you're actually going to be watching amateur boxing for a change? You've been the biggest hater I've ever known in amateur boxing.
Well,
World
it's
Series of
changed.
boxing
It's
as well is
changed.
on at the moment.
I'm a hater specifically because of the Luke Campbell problem, the David Price problem. It's a different sport. It's a shit fest with where guys are not properly prepared for the pros. Hopefully that changes.
You just don't know if
And
the fact is that the fighter feels comfortable with that guy. I mean, usually when these kids go into gyms and stuff, it depends what age you started at. I mean, you get a guy, maybe he's got no dad in the house or something like that, so he looks to his trainer or some sort of father figure and that. So, I mean, Virgil Hunter went through the ranks with Andre Ward, obviously, but as you say, as a question stated, it's the minority. You just don't know. These guys obviously feel like connections with the trainers and stuff like that, become best pals, whatever, and that, and just the way it is. Any other questions?
No, that's all the Facebook ones. Thanks to everybody who's been sending them in.
Okay.
Continue to do so.
Thanks, guys. Belly of the Week. Got a few nominations. Now, the first one goes to a guy on Twitter under the name of DWL Conquistador, okay, at DSuperman25. Now, there's a debate going on Twitter. Someone says, for people asking why Can Garcia 2, Amir is the mandatory challenger, casuals Garcia Guerrero. This guy then come back and says Can has a more lucrative and rewarding option in Brook in the UK, a title and a boatload at Wimbledon.
Wimbledon?
Wimbledon, yep. David Hay. Now, he's actually getting called out for the level of his opponent last week, the great legendary Australian Mark Demore. You maybe heard Alex talking about him in great detail last week. Cheers for that, Alex, mate. But Hay, in the criticism of the knockout or of Demore, he says it's like Duran was no good because he got KO'd in one round against Thomas Hearns. I actually listened to it from the Toe to Toe podcast. I listened to it and I'm saying to myself, why the fuck did the interview not pull him up on that?
Because it's the Toe to Toe podcast.
Exactly, it is the fucking. You got one guy who, as Alex says last week, he's not even had 30 fights yet against a guy who's basically a club fighter, or you got two future Hall of Famers, all-time greats.
The irony of David Hay being on the Toe to Toe podcast as well.
Durant wasn't KO'd in one round either. It was 2 rounds, so he's wrong.
Fucking tube. This one goes to Sergio Mora. I think he was on commentary last night. Didn't listen to him. I listened to it in Russian. Mora on Southpaws. He says Southpaws hate fighting Southpaws because it's like fighting a mirror image. No, Sergio, it's no. This goes to a debate. This actually, Box Nation put up a dream poll on Twitter a few years ago. It was between Floyd Mayweather and Sugar Ray Leonard, who would win and how at 147. And basically this guy come back, Jamie Souza at OG Baby Johnson says Sugar Ray lost, Floyd didn't. Most of his generations would have beaten Leonard. So most of this generation would have beat Sugar Ray Leonard. So the likes of your Sean Porters, your Keith Furmans, Adrian Bruners, your Amir Khans would have all beat fucking Sugar Ray Leonard.
Marcos Maidana.
Fucking Chino.
Marcos Maidana pushed Floyd so bad. And yeah, he's going to beat Leonard.
And I think this one goes to the Daily Mail. today's paper actually was going on about Keith Furman celebrates being declared the winner after his victory over Kenny Bayliss.
What?
It's got a picture of Kenny Bayliss holding up his hand in the fucking ring with Keith Furman in it.
Is this a Jeff Powell exclusive?
Swear to God, it's Danny Robson sent it to me. It's a screenshot of his phone, so it's just like kind of the main captions. It's a picture of Kenny Bayliss holding up Keith Furman's hand, and at the bottom it says, Keith Furman celebrates being declared the winner after his victory over Kenny Bayliss.
Kenny
That's a
Bayliss,
quality win, to be
PBC
fair.
Fighter of the Year.
Oh,
Is this
Christ.
Sky again? Sky's
Oh.
always
Daily
It's a
Mail.
Daily Mail, it's a newspaper.
To be fair, that's a quality win. I don't think Floyd ever beat Kenny Bayliss. So I don't think anyone's beaten Kenny Bayliss, has it?
No, I don't. I think even Chino got beat off him as well, actually, at one point. So that's the nominations I've got this week, guys. Adam and the rest of you guys, you got any nominations?
Not this week.
No.
Alex?
I just missed some of them. So what were they again? I think I've got a few, but I'll check.
Daily Mail, David Hay, and a couple of gadgets on Twitter.
I've got to be Corn as well.
Oh yeah, Calm as well.
Can fit £10 million, yep.
Someone sent me a few. I'm just having a quick browse. Fucking hell. Alright, Penny of the week. Now,
Steve, you got anything to do, mate?
Nothing at all, no.
With yourself, Dave?
no.
Belly of the week for Bunsey, describing Mansa versus Brazil as a modern day classic.
I saw that one last night. I forgot.
Johnny Nelson saying, how about Special K Brook versus new WBA champion Danny Swift Garcia? Would be a hell of a fight of champions.
Oh, here, I'm reading his book now, right? It's actually quite good, but I was reading a fucking funny story about his dog. Have I told you about his dog before?
Johnny Nelson.
Yeah, you told
Aye.
us.
The story, right? I don't know if did we tell the listeners?
Yeah.
Did we tell them? I forgot. Or
Say it
is-
again now, you might as well.
Yeah.
It was actually quite funny. I was actually fucking pissing myself laughing just at the thought of this, right? No, what happened to the dog. It was actually what happened afterwards. Apparently, there was a tradesman in Nelson's mother's house, and he was caught shagging his dog, right? Johnny Nelson's dog, this is, right? And Nelson found out about it, and he was fucking incandescent with rage. He phones the cops. Right? Now, this is where I just started to fucking melt. Right, he phoned the police station, and the guy that answered the phone pissed himself laughing and hung the phone up. Right, he phoned back a second time, got the same response. Right, and this time he's actually explaining. He says, "I was fucking boiling." I says, "This guy just shagged my dog, and nobody was taking it serious." I was like, "Fuck's sake!" They took 3 attempts to get the police involved. Okay, I don't know.
What? Someone was shagging his dog? A
Someone-
tradesman?
It was like a plumber or always a plumber or some sort. But somebody was in the house, doing some work in the house, and he
Why
got
didn't
it
you
away
just
with
kill
it.
him?
Eh?
Working
What's
on the
the
same
police
plumbing
involved?
firm as David Price.
Oh fuck me.
Why didn't you just fucking chin the guy?
The
Why are you shagging my dog, you cunt?
Well, this is the point I was laughing at. Is the fact is he was on the phone to the fucking cops, and they're laughing at him, and he's raging. It says, "Someone just shagged my dog, and nobody's taking it serious." And I was like, "Fucking hell!"
It's just
I was-
so random.
It's just been you mentioned his name. I'm reading his book just now. I was reading a bit
What
of
kind
it
of
last
dog was
night.
it?
So we're
fuck knows.
nominating the dog for Value of the Week or something?
So, sorry, Alex. So you say Johnny Nelson for what again?
Just saying that Garcia is the WBA champion. I'm allowed to say that because he actually wrote those words. I'm quoting Johnny Nelson.
Right. Anything else?
Last one, just saying to Sergio Mora for being a fucking mong with his scoring last night. I think he gave 11 rounds, was it, to Garcia?
Right, so we've got the Daily Mail, David Hay, 2 gadgets on Twitter, especially one for saying that Ray Leonard would get beat off everyone in this generation, Johnny Nelson, and Johnny Nelson's old dog, and Steve Bunce. So, Adam, who gets your vote?
The one that calls himself the king.
Amir Khan.
Yep.
Right, so that's for I think that's for the £10 million demand, I take it, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Dave?
Daily Mail for saying that Kenny Bayliss fought Thurman.
And lost.
Alex,
Yeah, I'm going with that. That's fucking brilliant.
Daily Mail. Steve,
I love that Johnny Nelson story, but I'm going to go for David Hay, I think.
David Hay. I'm going to go for the Daily Mail. That was just absolutely legendary. So check it out if it's Jeff Powell. Congratulations anyway to the Daily Mail.
Andy, I've got another question if you want it.
Uh-huh.
It's come from Mick Doonan on Twitter, mdoonan1988. With Brian King a free agent, can you ask the panel how much it would cost to have him on the asylum? Brian currently has offers from El Chapo, HBO, and Michelle Joy Phelps.
Probably a fish slipper.
Brian's retired, hasn't he?
Yep. He chucked it in altogether.
How much does a lawyer cost?
Well, see how much it, well, we've got Donny on board, see how much that costs us. Fucking hell. Heartache and pain.
Then weigh it up.
Thought Brian was dead.
Brian's welcome to come on whenever he wants. We'll contact him beyond this realm.
Just before we do get into the fucking fight review for next week, I actually wanted to mention about Glasgow's injury. Did anybody see Michael Woods' comments on Twitter as to the actual extent of his injuries last week?
I
No.
didn't see it, but they said it was
Right.
worse than
It was
originally thought.
the doctor actually couldn't believe he walked out that ring. I've just found the tweet here. Hang on 2 seconds. The radiology report on Glasgow says suffered. Dr. Stevens, taller orthopaedic surgeon, stated a partial dislocation of his knee indicates an anterior cruciate ligament injury, as well as a lateral collateral ligament with extensive injury to the posterior lateral complex of his knee, a large knee hemorrhagis, and he sustained bone contusions of the lateral tibial plateau and medial femoral condyle. Right, so I've kind of like wee bit kind of lost a wee bit. I know a wee bit about the knee, but that's fucking horrific. Whatever it is, that sounds like a stress fracture there, doesn't it? At the top of the lateral tibia.
I just find it funny that like all that work went from like all the bribes for main events and all that work of matchmaking and the judging and all that work went into preserving Glasgow's fake O, and then he just loses it like that against a nobody.
Did anybody catch Alex McClintock's tweet as well? He'd actually posted a Spanish language article up about there's allegations in the Mexican press that that JC Superstar is basically money laundering for El Chapo and other narcos.
Fuck's sake.
Imagine that, eh? Fucking hell.
Well, I mean, Fernando Montiel was involved with him at some point as well, wasn't he? When he got captured, so...
Who's that with Chapo?
El
Well,
Chapo,
didn't he have some beef with ISIS or something? I was reading.
ISIS? Fucking hell.
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah. It was on the internet. It was on Telegraph.
Free El Chapo, let him go sort the cunts out.
Right, well, next week, as you know, there's quite a fair bit of action returns. Now, we've got a card from the UK, which is from the Olympic Park. John Ryder against Sergei Kaminsky. That's a basic crossroad fight for Ryder, that one. John Wayne Hibbert against Tommy Martin. And George Groves tops the bill against Andre De Luis. I've got a couple of other cards. There's one card from China actually next week. It's actually getting held in the, what do you call it? The Shanghai Oriental Sports Center. It actually holds 18,000. I was talking to, remember that the heavyweight guy we had on, Clarence Tillman? He actually thinks they'll maybe sell that place out. If not, they'll maybe just give away the tickets and stuff, so it could be a good atmosphere. But next week's all about one thing and one thing only. It is the magnificent bastard himself, Sergey Kovalev, against Jean Pascal for the couple of light heavyweight titles. I know people are not happy with the rematch. There's really not cry for a rematch, but it's Kovalev, man. What do you want? Kovalev just goes in there and does what he does best, and that's smash people to fuck. Pascal got off lightly, he said the last time. Him and his team are talking some amount of trash just now. But the way this is going to go, I can honestly, unless Pascal can somehow, which he did do a few times in the first fight, was land that overhand right hand, especially on the counter off the ropes and stuff. Unless he can hurt Kovalev early doors, Pascal, I fear for him. I really do. I think Kovalev is just going to go out there, just seek and destroy, and absolutely fucking muller this guy because he's spoken enough trash, and I think the comments he's saying is just basically chilling. He wants to end them as a boxer. So
You think he's going to bring his daughter this time?
As I say, mate, he is Kovalev, aka the magnificent bastard. That was only said to Graham Souness. This guy is beyond that. This guy is just pure evil. And I can't wait to see it next week.
Bring your
Can't wait.
daughter to the slaughter.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a good rematch. It's not really a good fight, but I always enjoy seeing the Crusher do his thing. So, fair play. I haven't really got much else to say about it. I mean, you pretty much summed it up. That Pascal maybe has a shot early doors, catch him cold maybe. I mean, a few people have suggested that Kovalev is a bit fragile around the whiskers, but still, Kovalev should absolutely fucking. Well, I wouldn't. I was going to say kill him, but he should really, really hurt him really badly.
There's really much else we can really say about it. Is the fight? You're right, Alex. I mean, it's basically guess what rounds are going to stop him in. Is it going to go the distance? Is it going to go longer? Can Pascal sustain another beating?
Where's the demand? Where's the demand come from? Is it just an easy one for the TV networks? I mean, who's?
Well, it's money as well. Pascal always brings in quite
yeah,
heavily, so.
Canada. Yeah.
So
it's just well, whatever. I mean, hopefully we'll see. I mean, to be fair, another big fight for the division would be Kovalev Beterbiev at some point. I think Beterbiev is mandatory or close enough to being mandatory. I think he's got to have a final eliminator or something, but for the IBF belt, so that would be a great fight. But main events are knobheads, and they seem to be able to get away with a lot of fuckery lately. Yeah, it's a nothing fight, really, isn't it? I mean, we've built up Kovalev, but Pascal, he's just going to get wiped out.
Unless Pascal somehow does win, and then we're talking about a different light heavyweight division next week.
Well, yeah, exactly, but hopefully that doesn't happen.
Adam, I mean, I'm actually at a loss of questions for these guys. I mean, it's a matter of question, as you say. Can Pascal land the right hand often enough to make Kovalev drop? Can he get him to the body? I mean, I think there was only one occasion in that fight is when Kovalev actually grabbed a hold of him. I think it was a body shot.
That, yeah.
He is hiding a bit of glass, I think, Kovalev. I really do. I think there's a bit of, but he's just so fucking calm, composed, and confident in that power, man. I mean, if he does Lanzi clean, you're going to go. Pascal, we all know, has got a durable chin, but he has nails at the end of the day. I mean, I watched the guy fight that Romanian dude at Decano, the rematch, I think it was, or something, and his right shoulder popped out, dislocated at least 3 times in that fight, and between rounds he had it popped in each time. You can't tell me this guy's not got balls, and it takes fucking huge cojones to get back in there with Kovalev again. Especially one, as you say, Alex, it could end a career without doubt, but could also end something more important.
Yeah, but I mean, Pascal took some big shots in that fight, that 10-rounder that he should have lost really last year in that fight of the year. Was it Ramirez?
Gonzalez,
sorry. I mean, how many times can he continue taking big shots? Obviously, this will be the second time in with the biggest puncher. I agree with you, Andy. I just think he'll finish it, and he'll finish it earlier than last time, and he means business. I mean, Kovalev, he don't care. Obviously, we know what he's done before to someone in the ring that we've shied away from mentioning. He don't care, the lad. He don't care.
Is this on Box Nation?
I'm not sure.
No.
I think I saw somewhere it was. I'm just wondering if anybody knows for sure. I have to search out those Russian streams again on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
I
Just need to apologise to the listeners actually, because we actually meant to have an interview this week, but obviously with the snow and heavy storms and that, and the east coast of America, our guy fell through, so we'll have one next week hopefully. Sorry, Alex, what were you going to say,
I
mate?
was going to say, what do we think about the Ryder Kamitsky fight? I mean, that Sky card isn't great, but I think that is a really good fight.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends what kind of Kamitsky you're going to get at the end of the day, innit? It really does, but Ryder, man, as I say, I've not seen much of him since. I mean, when was the last time I actually watched him fight?
Blackwell?
I think it might be the Saunders defeat. I don't think I actually saw the Blackwell fight. I think it was the Saunders defeat.
didn't he recently get stopped?
Yeah,
by Blackwell.
British.
Blackwell, yeah.
He was winning that fight, though.
Yeah, he was, yeah. That was for British title, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and Blackwell caught him with a right hand, and Ryder didn't really know how to react. And if Kamitsky, he's still got it in him to land a similar punch. It's just his age, Kamitsky's age, about we know what he does, but can he reproduce it? He's 40 odd now.
41.
I'll be tempted to put a few quid on him because he's just got that sort of air of fear about him. I guess I don't know. He's really troubled so many British fighters, and Ryder. I think Ryder's he's a decent level of fighter. I guess he's not bad. He's not going to be world champion unless it's some shit belt, but.
It's a good chance he'll go the distance of the fight. So Ryder's quite a stocky guy, got a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
Can he fight for the 12 rounds? It is a 12 rounder, I think. So
yeah, I mean, and it's going to be worth a few quid, I think, putting on Kamitsky knockout.
Don't go too heavy though.
No, I mean it depends what the odds are. I mean, he was 4-1, I think someone said, against Etchers. I think it'll be a bit closer this time, but Adam, you're the odds man, so.
I'll find it for you.
Ryder's found his level, hasn't he? I think a little bit. He's not going to be that good. Fair play to him to going over and fighting Saunders at a time. I think a fight between him and Eubank would have been interesting, but not so sure now.
I still think it would be. I still think that maybe durability is. I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe the Blackwell knockout was a bit too unflattering for him, but I still think that the Eubank fight is decent. I think that it'd be a good win for Eubank in the very least, and I think it'd be a good test for Ryder, especially if he looks good against Kamitsky.
Is Eubank going to be fighting Blackwell now? Has he gone back to Channel 5, or did I see that? Is that right?
I think he is going to be fighting on mate. Yep. Just check the now. Yep. 5th of March. It's at the Greenhithe in Kent. What the fuck is that? I need to go check that out.
Shocking.
They're burning bridges at El Rapido, aren't they? The Eubanks, really. I mean, bloody hell, what are they up to? But this could be interesting. That could be an interesting fight, actually. Blackwell's not too bad, but you think Eubank's speed will be a little bit too much for him, but you never know.
Listen to this. Greenhithe is a small town in the Dartford borough of Kent. It is located east of Dartford. It's got a naval training base and ship maintenance nearby and all that sort of shit.
Fuck's sake.
Kamitsky's 15-8, so the bookies have switched on to his ability to bash up average British middleweights.
That's just a win, isn't it?
No stoppage. There's no odds on the stoppage because, again, the bookies will be running scared from that little event. So it'll be someone will put a price up and then it'll be follow the leader from there because none of them want to take a risk.
What would you price it up, Aaron?
Well, I mean, 15-8, you're going to be looking at least, probably 7-2, 4-1 for the KO. But it's just one of them. But normally, at the minute, there's just one company in particular that will price a fight up, and then they'll only know if the price is wrong if idiots like myself start lumping money on it. So it's a poor state of affairs at the minute. No one wants to take an opinion.
There you are.
Fair enough.
So I think that's it really for this week. Unless you guys got anything you want to weigh in on, no.
No.
That'd be the case. Just want to thank the guys, thank the listeners, and all the guys that sent in Twitter questions. Steve Wellens, who else we got? Adam, Dave the Hater, and Alex. I'm your host, Emmy Patterson. We'll see you next week. Have a good week. I think we'll also have an interview next week as well, finally. So stay tuned. Have a good week. All the best.